Lost Girl Therapy. This is part 2 of I am a psychic and here are all the random questions that I get when people find out about it. So we left off on what happens when I get a psychic download. And when I get a psychic download, I basically get like a flood of information about the person that I am reading, and then it is up to me to responsibly deliver that information in a healthy and respectful manner. The first way I do that is I ask for verbal consent. Is it okay if I tell you this? And then I ask for energetic consent. I require both. I need yeses on both in order to share that message. And that is because when we open psychically, when we open energetically, you can get flooded with a ton of information. The psychic side, or like the spiritual realm, does not abide by social norms. So psychics can get messages that are not necessarily meant for the person that we are reading. So it is our responsibility to discern if what we are receiving is in that person's best interest to hear, if it is relevant for them, and that's really important. When it comes to receiving kind of like warnings or negative stuff, I will tell you that I have never read a client where I've actually gotten a warning. I've never read a client where I've gotten negative stuff. So if you are working with somebody, if you're working with a psychic or with a medium and you are getting told that something like bad is going to happen, I would strongly consider you working with somebody else, because we have an obligation to do no harm. And so conveying a message that could cause you distress can be considered harm, and that might not be somebody who has your best interest at heart. The only time that I've ever received a message of warning was one day I woke up and I felt like there was going to be a car accident, and then I found out that a family member of mine had been in a car accident the day before. That was the closest I ever came to receiving a message that was truly like worrisome and distressing. I've never had something come through for a client that would be incredibly like, you need to do something about this right now. The other question I get is, can you tune into people? Just because I can doesn't mean that I do. So yes, I could tune into somebody, but I don't. And the reason being is that energetic consent. Just because you can tune into someone's energy does not mean that it is okay to do so. And so I don't. When I work with clients, if I need to tune into them for a very specific reason, I ask before I do it. And that's really important. When you're working with an energetic practitioner or a psychic or a medium, just because you have agreed to the session does not mean that energetically you have agreed to them entering your space. So you really want to check in with yourself and see if you trust them, if you want to continue the session, if you want to hear what they have to say. Energetic and verbal consent are so, so, so important. The third thing is, can I read other people's futures? The best way that I can explain this is I can only read for a client for who they are as they are right now. In a psychic setting, if I am doing that type of work, I can only read the information based on who you are in this moment. So when I talk about doing future predictions, I'm not really pulling them out of thin air. I'm pulling them out of where your energy is aligned right now. So if you have a dormant dream of moving somewhere, or if you have this vision of like running into the love of your life on the street and I pick up on that, it's because it's somewhere deep down in your subconscious. If you choose to make a different decision, so say you decide like, I'm not moving to California anymore, I am now more aligned with New York, the reading that you receive is no longer really relevant. There might be some parts of it that are meaningful, there are parts that you can certainly take away, but any psychic reading, any medium reading is not set in stone. It is up to you to use your own discernment and your own sense of self to identify what you want to hold on to and what you don't. And that is because you have full autonomy. There is nobody on this earth who knows you better than you know yourself. Not a psychic, not a medium, not an energetic practitioner, no one. So if you have received a reading and you feel like that practitioner knows more about you than you need to consider that they can only read you in that moment. What you choose to do with that reading is up to you. How you choose to act on it or not act on it is up to you. You always have full autonomy, and you always have the ability to reject what is being given to you if it doesn't align. If you guys have any more questions, if you want to know more about like what is my day-to-day of being a psychic? How did I discover that I was a psychic? How did this entire thing come up? I'm happy to answer the questions. Just shoot me a comment or leave me a DM.